VK3, I think he was USA was his call, and they were saying his audio, your audio was really clean. We're looking at it on a thing, and are you using audio feedback or whatever it is to clean the audio up? No, he says I'm using a KWM2A. Back to you from GI3NVW.
Yeah, GI3NVW, VK3ADT. Yeah, well, good on everything, Bill. Solid copy. And, yeah, that's Air TR7. Yeah, that's nice. The quad, you say, has got a damaged front element. My first beam was a quad, a homebrew, 2-element. It was a steel boom with bamboo spreaders. And they did okay for a number of years, but that antenna was in a tree, a birch tree, up about maybe 5 meters, with a rope over a branch to the center of the boom. And I had another rope hanging down on the end, and I could swing it, go outside, and I could pull on the rope, swing it around, and tie it off to another tree to go north, south, or east or west. And that was done at, I think I was age 15, 16. And that was my first experience. But I love the quads. You know, you got a full wavelength loop. And broad SWR is good across the whole band. And the 2-element is every bit as good as a 3-element Yagi. So as far as gain goes, from my experience. And they receive really well, too, you know, having the full wavelength of the loop of wire. But you say it's on a fixed tower, and then you've got to climb it to get it down, and that's no fun. I suspect you're probably at probably 15 meters high at least. Yeah, that's depends on your age. Age here is, by the way, 67, and I have a little tower job I've got to do. I've got to bring, but at least I can motorize it down to 21 foot. And I've got to take it off and open up the rotator, the sensor. You know, the electrical sensor for the direction went out on it about 3 years ago. And I've just been too busy to bother with it. But for the most part, I don't envy you having to get up there and get that monster down. And maybe you can use a rope and a pulley and get somebody on the ground to lower it down for you. Go ahead.
Yeah, no. It is a monster. Originally I had a system for trying to get it down, which did winch it down, but I have not got that anymore. That was the original plan. It's up there since the mid-90s as well, so it's got quite old. It was a belt and braces design. In other words, on a 5-inch boom and 32 feet. And it originally was at 70-something feet high, but and the rotator is a homemade thing with a couple of electric motors and one thing and another at the bottom. And you'll be interested in this. My indicator, if you look at the picture in the shack, if the picture's good enough, you'll see a box on the right-hand side at the top, on the first shelf above the receiver. And that is my antenna control system, which controls all the antennas. But the indicator is a relative bearing indicator out of a World War II bomber, and a Selson motor at the far end. And there's a timing chain and timing wheel out of a Vauxhall Cavalier engine to link off to the limit switches and link up to the indicator. And that's all on the ground. But no, the antenna is very heavy, and it originally was got up by a winching system. I've put in a big slab of concrete beside it, and there's a local company has cherry pickers, but the cherry picker didn't reach the antenna any good when it was at the full height, so it took out the bottom 7 or 8 feet and lowered it so it's only a few feet above the tower. The tower is 66 feet, so it's probably about 72 feet above the ground, and the cherry picker will reach into the bottom half of the quad, but it won't reach into the top half. So I was stymied. I thought I was going to have to get it down, and of course if you bring that all down you need a frame to stand it on. If I was going to do anything with it, I'd like to reinforce all the corners now. The corners are where it gave up. And, that's where it is broken, obviously. 7 strands of hard-drawn wire, the stuff that we used to get from Radio Works. They used to make the antennas in the States, you might remember them. And I got wire from Radio Works, actually. It was the only way I could get 7-strand hard-drawn from copper. But at each of the corners I had reinforced with 2 more runs of the same wire. So there were 21 strands going through the corners. But over the years they've worn and some of them have broken. And that's basically the problem. The corners are just standard egg insulators, and they're on fiberglass tubes. I had one fiberglass tube break. I was surprised because it was 1.5 inch tube, and I had smaller tube which was exact tight fit up the inside of it. And one of the old high gain antennas had elements. One that got scrapped had an element that was exact tight diameter over the fiberglass. So I put 2 or 3 feet of that on the outside of the fiberglass before it got clamped with the U-bolts to the plates, the spreader plates. So it wasn't meant to fall down, but it weighed an awful big weight. But it was just recently a guy's come up with an idea that if we take off all the this guy will not climb the tower. There is a ladder up it. You could climb it if you were that. But I mean, you said you were 67. I'm afraid I'm 85, so therefore climbing a tower was never something I wanted to do, and I certainly wouldn't do it now. But I'd still go up in the cherry picker. But I mean, take a couple of us. But the plan is, and you probably might laugh at this, take off all the other stuff that's attached to the antenna. And the antenna sits on a 3 feet length of big channel iron with a second length of that clamped on top of it, and 8 stainless steel bolts clamping it. If we get them bolts slackened, we take the bottom section of pipe out altogether, and the antenna will come on top of the tower, and there's a little platform which you could stand on. So we slack all the bolts, and then we should be able to rotate the antenna on its axis. And that way all we need to do is park ourselves at a reasonable height on the cherry picker, rotate the antenna, reinforce all the corners, and generally do a repair that way. And that means it doesn't have to come down. It sounds like it's workable. Can you imagine what we're trying to do? Go ahead.
Yeah, well, I tell you, I don't envy you, man. That's something else. I guess because the towers must be guide, fixed towers guide, so you've obviously got to get the guy wires out of the way to bring it down. Take at least one guy wire off, I suppose. But this tower I brought from the U.S., and I just didn't want to deal with the damn guy wires, I've always had a guide tower. It's 70 foot, typically, row 25. And, by the time you put, 2 to 3, I used to have 2 sets on it, minimum, 4 at the bottom and 3 at the top. And they were always in the way, no matter what I wanted to do. I used to slide the Yagis down the guy wires, like a slider. But this tower, which was ordered and shipped here in a container for me, and it was... They made me when I saw what it was on the drawing. The local government permit agency made me put this thing 5 meters into the ground to the actual base that goes into the ground with the rebar. And it uses 1 inch, or I think it's actually 2 inch rebar on the one thing, but it's a 5 meters into the ground. By 1.2 meters wide, filled with steel and concrete. And then on top of that, it's got a 450 mil thick top pad, which is joined in the steel just above ground. And that, of course, keeps the base of the tower out of the water, no standing water. And it's a tilt-over type. If you bring it down, you can tilt it over, but I've never had the nerve to do it. So I just leave it. I just put a ladder up and climb up when I get it down all the way down. And I deal with it like that. But, your situation is a little more difficult. And it's still working well. I guess the fund director is, like you said, hanging loose. But it's as long as it's not going to fall down, you know. I wouldn't break my neck doing it. But I loved antenna work, and I got a lot of it. And I've had people who were willing to help when I needed it. And it's a lot of fun, you know, putting one up and then seeing how it works. No worries. I'm starting to lose you, Bill. I just picked up the antenna a little bit last time around. You're down to about a 5x6, 5x5. So conditions are definitely changing. So I might put it back to you for your final. And been a nice chat, nice rag shoe. GI3NVW. And by the way, what's the QTH? VK3ADT.
Yeah, notice your signal has dropped a bit. Actually, you're coming on a slightly different path now. I've moved the antenna around about 15 degrees further west, and you came up a little bit. But now you're back to S7, and maybe touching S8. So it's very. There's no noise here. You're well above it. There's no issue. There's a couple of things that you mentioned. There's no guys on this tower. It's a homemade tower. It's about 5 feet square in the bottom. It goes into a hell of a lot of concrete, and it goes up the first 20 feet parallel sized, and then it's tapered from there to the top. And it did originally have a little platform at the top, but the railings on the platform have come adrift, so there's just a platform now. But there's no safety railings, which is don't really fancy. But the guy who came up with the idea, he does rail work. I mean, that's what he's into. So I mean, I'd be happy enough with him on the tower, and he could do the work to get the thing prepared for us to be able to sit in the cherry picker. There's no guys in this tower, I mean, and I don't see this tower going anywhere. We had a very bad storm, the one that damaged the quad earlier this year. It put the electricity off over 60-70% of GI. And even the other side of town, it was 48 hours before they got power back on again. I lost, and when I came to this QTH, it was wide open, no trees, anything, and I planted a few. And that's back in the 1981. And they've all grown up and given me a nice piece of parkland to look out at. But of course, being fast-growing trees, Leylandii type things, as you do when you don't have any sense, the ones along the roadside, the wind got them, and 4 of them went down and closed the main trunk, east-west trunk road, the A5, and stopped everything. And unfortunately, we're close enough to an 11 kV overhead, and they took the 11 kV overhead down as well. The transformer sits in the corner of my property, and I was hoping the electricity service would get sorted out quickly, because the 2 poles that the transformer were on had a slight bend, and I thought if they leave it like that, the whole damn thing's coming down. But anyway, we were off power for a day and a half before they got us back going again. But I mean, when I look at the trees that came down, none of my antennas came down. I used to have a pair of delta loops hanging on that tower for 40 meters, and they were very good. But I got hold of another tower, an old crank up, it's an army one, and I have it guyed on the other side of the QTH, and 2-element commercial antenna. Who made it? I've forgotten the model number of it, for 40 meters. And actually it got a bit more gain than the delta loops had, but on many occasions the delta loops easily outperformed it on receive, because I could hear things that were buried in the noise on the Yagi. Very noticeably different. Anyway, at one stage I wanted to go up and do something. I took the delta loops down, and because I had a beam that you could turn, I didn't put them up again. So they're all hanging in the garage. And that was an interesting exercise, because I could reverse the direction, a switching arrangement which I hadn't seen with anybody else, which involved a 3-pole relay and one thing and another. And the lengths of matching section were cut to suit, so that when you reversed the thing, you could change each element down to a lower frequency, so it was a reflector. In other words, it acted like a stub. You shorted it to get a stub, and then you put a matching box there to bring the SWR right, rather than having the correctness of matching section. And that worked very well, actually. So the situation is no guys, but I think this can work if we can get ourselves gathered. I'd like to do it this year. I'm going to be a year older next year, and I have a feeling that the motivation might, maybe the physicality of standing up there for so long will get to be a difficulty as well. But I mean, since we put the cherry picker in, we've been able to do odd minor repairs. I'm pleased the antenna withstood the storm, which wrecked half of GI. I'm in the western part of GI, by the way. You did ask me. If you the map of Ireland on the north coast, you'll see the city of Londonderry. It's GI's second city, and we're about 30 miles due south from that. On the main river that runs out there, the Foyle, the two rivers that form the Foyle, the river system, they actually meet together here in the centre of Omagh. And Omagh was built on the basis of that about 400 or 500 years ago. And for donkey's years, right up till the 60s, the whole town centre used to flood. But at least they've sorted it out. My signals are dropping, we'd better pack it, but I can't understand. I'm on here very, very regularly that we've never spoken before. And you didn't tell me when you got your first license, by the way. VK3ADT GI3NVW.
Yeah, GI3NVW, VK3ADT. Yeah, fine, Bill. First license was Anchorage, Alaska, Kilo Lima 7 territory. I was there about 43 years and then shifted down here, maybe longer. Can't remember the entire year, but been in Australia since 2008. Been living here since 2008. Married an Australian woman and lived in Alaska for 15 years. And then she wanted to come home to the sunny weather and the beach. So I became a Victor Kilo. That's a long story short. So first call sign in Alaska at age 15. I'm going to let you go, mate. It was hard copying you that last time. I put the preamp on, but it's still a lot of static. So take care. Nice for the chat, and I'll look for you again. This is about the frequency I hang out on. So good DX to you, and hope the wife recovers from the hip replacement. I've had 2 of those myself, and they went very well. It makes a huge difference in the comfort level when you need one of those things, you know. But take care, and good DX to you. GI3NVW, VK3ADT. Thank you.
GI3NVW. Yeah, I'm still copying you very well. I've got a clear speech DSP, West Mountain Radio, which is magic for a radio like this that doesn't have any noise reduction. It makes people who are sounding fizzy fully quieted without much distortion. If I take it out, you're a bit noisy, but you're totally quieted with this thing. So that might be something you should add to your kit. Well, the XYL didn't have any pain. It was because she fell that she broke the hip. So the whole pain for her is a whole new thing. It's different if you have pain and you want to get it replaced. I can understand that. So I'm thinking from that then you must be licensed from sometime in the 1960s. Would that be right? Go ahead.
Oh, yeah, well, age 15. Was licensed at age 15. Shortwave listener building it at age 10. But, it was, what would that be? Born in 58, plus 15. So, it was late 60s, early 70s.
Yeah, Roger, I'm just doing the sums when I looked at the age 67, so 42 years ago. Yeah, well, that's right. I was licensed the year after you were born. I've just worked that one out if you said 1958. It's been a grand hobby. I had other hobbies. I was a pretty good tennis player, and I used to play a lot of piano, but I've kind of got past all that. I can't play any tennis anymore, obviously. And I played a bit of golf because the wife was good at it, but we can't do that, so I've got to keep the ham radio going. Look, I hope I'll catch you. I spent a lot of time on 14156. I was a very good friend of EA7BA, if you've ever worked them, and we used to keep the frequency active. In fact, quite a few mornings we'd still be there. Anyway, I won't hold it because the signals are dropping. But it's been wonderful to meet you, Frank, and I hope we can continue some morning. I'll be looking for you on this frequency. Really good chat. Thanks for the chat.
Yeah, thanks, mate. Take care. VK3ADT is clear. Golf in the...
Yeah, 165, Bill, over.
Roger.
Okay, just checking, is the frequency clear? It did look clear. ON80I, over.
Yeah, there's monkey chatter on it. We could maybe move a wee bit higher.
Yeah, okay. I'll stand by here, Bill, and you find a clear one for you, over.
Hold it a second.
Morning, John.
Morning, Jimmy.
156 seems to be clear, and it isn't usually. We could go down to 156.
Yeah, 156, the usual one. Okay, see you there.
Roger. GI3NVW NATI. Of course, I recognise the voice immediately, John. Great to hear you, and you're a good signal here. I'm not beaming still long past. So how are things? Go ahead.
Yeah, things are very good, and I really enjoyed listening to your conversation with Frank. And EI6GEB is out there, so maybe you'll give him a shout. I'm not sure if you can make contact with him, but anyway, hope you're well, and hope the wife is making a good recovery. Yeah, you are really going down memory lane with Frank. GI3NVW ON80I. You're 10 and 15 over with me, Bill, over.
Oh, yeah, but I can understand I haven't worked Frank before, because he's a good signal, and he's obviously been around the band a lot. And the call sign sounded familiar. Immediately I heard it. I was dead sure when I put him in the log that he would, I'm trying to save him here in the log before I change to you. I'm not good at multitasking. Right, I think I've got it. Yeah, we really enjoyed it. He's been around. He's got quite a bit of stuff on his page, which I'm totally remiss and I haven't done anything about it. The wife is, the biggest problem is that this is upset her dementia, and she's not able to do very much mentally at the minute, and she was much better before she went in. So even watching TV seems to be not a great help, and when she can't really read anymore, and so she gets completely bored in there, and can get very tearful. That's the hip is coming on well, the pain level's gone down, and I mean she walked yesterday. Of course, one of the nurses keeping an eye on her, the length of the corridor, and that's a hell of a length in that place for somebody who's just starting to walk. So, I mean, I will get her home, but we're going to have to get a few alterations done around the place to make it safe for her, and I'm hoping that with a bit of incoming care that will not need too much and we'll still be able to carry on. That's the plan anyway. Yeah, you're a terrific signal. I've heard you around, but we haven't had a chat for a while. I wasn't on 156 this morning. I think I was too late, but I think I did turn on the SDR before I came in here on the phone, and I heard a contact GI3VFW, which is an old call sign which one of the clubs has now. I was working Mike VK6 Charlie Bravo, but by the time I got here they were gone. Anyway, what have you been doing with yourself from GI3NVW?
Yeah, Roger, on that, Bill. Well, just the usual getting up, going to work, and coming home. My wife, well, I hope Dorothy anyway, comes back as well as can be. So anyway, my wife and the two harmonics, they went to Sarajevo. They left on, I think, it was Saturday morning. We were on the road at about 4 o'clock on Saturday morning, and I brought them to the airport. So they were there, and I collected them on Wednesday. But they really had a terrific time. It's a kind of little, it's a kind of like a hidden secret. Although they did tell me there was a lot of tourists, but it's a beautiful country. Over.
Sarajevo, that name rings a bell. Was not seriously involved with the wars back at the end of the 90s. If I'm right, go ahead.
Yeah, Roger, yeah. And you know, I remember watching, you know, the news and people would be traveling on the tram through Sarajevo, and they'd suffer from sniper fire coming from the hills. But it's all changed now. It's got nice. I got the impression from the photos and what they said, a lot of EU money went into it. Over.
Yes, I think you're quite right. And that it's a winter. Is it not a winter resort? You know, ski resort. Is that right? Have I got that wrong?
No, you've got that right, 100% right. And I think they had the Winter Olympics one of the years, I think before the war. But it's all come back good. There's lovely houses there now, and lovely cars, and very clean and tidy, and very you know, my wife was telling me, very respectable in the evening, rather than some of the antics that you'd get in Echo Alpha and etc. Over.
Yeah, I get you. Yeah, it sounds like a real nice place now. The memories of it, of course, were bad, but I suppose that's a bit like GI. You know, I mean, we were the bad lads for a good while, and nobody wanted to come here, and it's taken a long time for people to come back and sort of see the beauty of the northern part of Ireland. You know, people just didn't want to come anywhere near the place, and not surprisingly, I mean, when I think of the history that I went through and when I lived and all the rest of it, and it's so much different now. Biggest problem now is traffic, and the fact that I think they've made a real mess of trying to build this A5 link from Ballygolly to Londonderry. The whole thing's been quartzed now, and they're abandoning the land back to the farmers. Apparently, they all got letters, and they've already scarred the countryside. Half the place is dug up and hedges pulled out, and now they've spent 110 million. Though we're not going to get a road. Only in the UK could you do something like that. Go ahead.
Oh yeah, I know exactly. I know exactly what you're saying. Yeah, you know, they should have got the Chinese in, and they'd have done it in a few days. HI. But I have happy memories of Northern Ireland, and I don't know if I ever told you, but you know, in my earlier years, I was a great long-distance cyclist, and one of the ones we did was for the Millennium in Dublin in '88. 6 of us, and we were all independent, so you know, you didn't wait for anyone. If someone went ahead, good luck. If someone fell behind, good luck to them as well. And we all managed to cycle around Ireland 1,000 kilometres in, that was '88, and we did it in just under 75 hours. That was the cut-off limit. But happy memories of cycling in Northern Ireland. You know, and I remember one time I was in, and this was on another trip, I was in Belfast, and I was looking for directions, and I asked one of the... well, in those days, it was an RUC police officer, and I was asking him, and then suddenly someone was reversing out, and I said to him, "Get out of the way!" But nothing but good memories from GI land. Over.
Oh well, that's good. 1,000 get the whole way around it in 75 hours. Excuse me, it's amazing, absolutely amazing. I can't imagine it. But congratulations on that. It's something that I learned just the other day. My son and his new partner, well, of 4 or 5 years, she has a couple of boys. She's from Lithuania, and the young one is into football. He's 9, and the little village up a few miles up the road of Beara, which is probably 900 or 1,000 people, have a little team called Beara Swifts, and they entered into this big competition in Derry. And they played a bit, but I mean, they were getting a hard time. But it was EI5 GX came in here. That would be Eamon, you know, from Derry. You'll know Eamon. He's NI2US now. W1 stroke he was always known as. He dropped in. He's up in Malin at the moment, and he had a chat with him, and we were talking about this. And the guy says, "Oh yeah, my son's a referee in that. The competition is completely funded by the people who are playing." And he says 900 I've forgotten the many teams, but there were 4 from the US of A and 2 from Australia and some others from various other countries. And this thing was going for a week. This is one hell of a competition to not be funded by anybody and to be self-funded. So I didn't even know anything about it. Go ahead.
Yeah, Roger. Well, it's the first I heard, and the only I'm not big into the football, but tonight it's the Africa's Cup final, and that's in Rabat, the host country, and it's Morocco against Nigeria. So we're all hoping that Morocco will win, because I've a connection with Morocco. By the way, you're a terrific signal now. You came up to 20 and a bit more. And I'm looking at your signal. It's very clean. Sometimes when you hear radios with a Y in them, they can be all over the place. But I was speaking to Eamon, and he was telling me he dropped in. Now he normally he says he doesn't kind of just drop in on the spur. But well, I said if you do that and you get the good vibes, then you can stay for a few cups of tea. Over.
They're not great tea drinkers or coffee drinkers. Because they dropped into the office, actually. I didn't recognise him. I haven't seen him for donkey's years. And he's put on a hell of a lot of weight. He's twice the size he used to be. Well, he admits that himself. And he's complaining about knee pain. And they might have to get a knee done and God knows what not. But he had this other chap with him. I can't remember his name. The other fella reminded me of a 1960s film star who my mother was very fond of, but I can't remember his name either. But I kept looking at him and thinking, you're so familiar. But it was his son that was filling me in on the football competition. Or it was him that was filling in on this competition, his son being referee.
I'm on my way.
And okay on Morocco against Nigeria. Well, that's a small country, I'd say, against a big one, because I think Nigeria is probably maybe the most populous country in Africa. Very, very large outfit anyway. Well, let me see. Oh, yes, the audio. Oh, well, thank you for the compliment on it. I do watch it on a 301 monitor scope, a Yaesu one. I don't know where it came out of, but I fell in love with it because it was the same height as the Drake gear. So therefore, it matched in to look good with the Drake gear. And I thought, right, well, we'll see what you can do with it. So I monitor the amplifier all the time with it. And I can see that I've no flat topping on the pattern. And there's no wrinkles anywhere. So the linear is not doing anything it shouldn't do. And you're therefore down to what you're doing with the rig. I'm surprised that it sounds as good as it does, because I changed the filter on it in the rig to get a wider pass band. And I could never get the shape of it symmetrical. It's slightly different audio if I'm a lower sideband, and that means it's not symmetrical, but it was going to call for an awful lot of effort to try to fix it. And I'm kind of forgotten about it now, let's put it like that. And I mean, you are listening to an RF clipper, and everybody says you can't have an RF clipper, but I mean, the speech processor changes the audio to 455 kilohertz, flips it to whatever length disparity you want, and then demodulates it back down to audio and sends it back out. And again, it's not something that should sound good. It doesn't fill the envelope as well as you guys with your modern rigs. When I look at it on the FDRs, some of them, I mean, the audio is really smooth and very filled looking on a lot of these modern solid state rigs, and I can't do that. It doesn't get as well filled. I notice there's more gaps than mine. I mean, if I turn it up higher, it probably fills it, but it'll probably sound terrible. Go ahead.
Yeah, Roger, well, I'm making a little video, and you'll see exactly how you're sounding and how you're looking. And the great advantage now is you're such a terrific signal. So anyway, that's the story on that. Yeah, Eamon, I'm in fairly regular contact with Eamon, and I think he's there till the beginning of September. So he's a terrific signal, also out of Mallinhead. But wherever Eamon is, he's a great signal. And like you, a great conversationalist. Well, Bill, I just got the call. It's local time here. It's obviously it's an hour later than you, and we're 12 past 10. So I just got the call for some croissants and poached eggs. Over.
Oh, well, now there's a thing. I'm not sure about the poached eggs, but the croissants certainly would be good. Actually, I was thinking I'm here on my own, as you know, and it's Saturday morning, so there's no. I usually go and do a bit in the office. That's where Eamon found me. So I've no office to go to, and I was thinking this morning, I'll go in the shack and maybe have a QSO or two. I'll go and have a shower, and I'll get in the car. I'll go into Cafe Nero, have myself a breakfast, and then I need a few things. I'll go over to the Marks and Spencer's, and Marks and Spencer's has become a grand place for a fella on his own. There's an awful lot of handy food in it that saves you having to cook all the time. So I might go and see what I can find there. Though I still like to do a bit of cooking in the evening, right enough. But when you're doing it for one, it's not just the same. And of course, you are an hour later, and I'd been out of here by now if it had been a weekday. I'd have gone about 9 o'clock. And okay on Eamon. Yeah, well, I mean, I've been up to Mallinhead one previous time he was here. We went up. It was great. I'd never been to Mallinhead, so it was an excuse to go. And he had a lovely old Jaguar at that stage, but he tells me he sold it back to the fella he bought it from. And he was doing things in a garage, like making a shack upstairs and putting heating in it and all the rest of it. But when you listen to the things he's doing stateside, he's in a wild big way. I mean, he seems to gather up tires the same way, the way we would gather up matchsticks. And put these things up and take them down. And if you get him to tell you about the time when he used to do the snow blowing, I don't know, did he ever tell you about that? Go ahead.
Negative, no, but that's something for the next conversation. Over.
Yeah, the reason that we've gone stronger is I turned the antenna around in your direction. I thought, what's the point in beaming out to Australia if we've got short path propagation, which we do. Look, I'm really pleased you called. We must get another chat. That's not often that you can get a chat on this frequency. When you come on this frequency, you usually end up with a large number of people, and the conversation gets a bit mundane. Would that be a good word?
Oh, never. But here's one final thing. I don't hear Mike really anymore. Now, I know he does come up, and I'm talking about the Irish Hour, which is on at 17 Zulu. But, I got an email from him. But anytime I go up to listen at around 7 o'clock our time, I don't hear him. Over.
I've been listening. It wasn't much good last night. It was weak the night before. The VE6 is sometimes slightly better. There are no signals. There's propagation at this time of year seems to be no good to the States. And I'm not hanging around now because it's the second visiting hour coming up at the hospital, so I haven't tried to get into the QSO, but I think I'd have trouble. And he seems to be working the stateside guys, so he's got a 3-element now, which has improved his front to back ratio and his signal. The propagation's just not there. I did hear 0CL, and he were struggling one day. I could have worked them, but I didn't get in. So I think you'll find they're there, but the propagation's not there, John.
Yeah, Roger. Well, that's not much good to me. But maybe I'll listen on a little Kiwi SDR. Well, really good hearing you. Just one more final thing about Mike. Yeah, he used to have another beam, and it was an amazing beam because it seemed to beam everywhere at the one time. Over.
Yeah, it was a Canadian thing, and it was one of these mini beams. It seemed to be, it was very wide. It immediately discovered when he got this 3-element that he needed to turn it now much more often than he needs to turn the other one. But I think it did give him a bit more signal when he was looking at you. When there's horses for courses, when you're sitting in where he is and you're trying to see both ways at the same time, the original beam might have been just as handy, I think. Go ahead.
Yeah, Roger. Well, I'm going back to you on a second beam now. I've got 2, but this is a quad, but it needs to go up much higher. So this is the quad. It's one of those also Canadian, one of the gem quads, but I've just got 20 meters on it. Over.
Yeah, well, it's S9. Can you quickly switch to the other one so we see what the difference is?
Yeah. Okay. I'm now back on the original. Back on the original. Over.
Well, I think the propagation's moved. There's not much difference. They're about the same. Might be a thickness of an S point of an S meter, which is nothing. So I think they're about equal. The quad doesn't need to be high anyway. We've great arguments about quads and tuning them, 10 feet above the ground. And Yagi guys out telling me, you'll never do anything with that. But I did find that if you tuned it there and then we used to be able to motorize it up to the top of the tower, it didn't make a big difference. A very interesting test that we did, you might be interested in this, had a section of, an ordinary section of steel or aluminium ladder actually, which we had propped up somewhere. I said, watch this, we'll see what this does to the SWR if we approach the antenna with it. And so I approached the antenna, which was, say, 10 or 15 feet up, and held it horizontally underneath the driven element, and it didn't change the SWR very much. But as soon as I went round the corner and held it anywhere near the verticals, the whole thing went mad. So that's why it doesn't see the ground. So you'll find that I'm not sure getting it higher. I brought this one down 10 feet and I saw no difference. Go ahead.
Yeah, now I'm back on the quad now. So and I brought the other one up. So both of them are now beaming northwest towards Northern Ireland. Yeah, it's just I use that other mast as an experimental mast, Bill. Over.
Yeah, they're about the same, I think, and it's interesting that you've got both. Do you find the quad is quieter on receive? Well, mine's a lot quieter, but I think than I used to have a 4-element high gain, whatever the model number if it was, on the other tower, and the quad always heard much better. But my quad is maybe a bit different from many others because my driven element is closed and I use a gamma match. And there's a long story as to why I had to do that. But anyway, it's not the time to go into it. Go ahead.
Yeah, Roger. And of course, Jimmy down EI6GB, he's always talking about putting up his quad as well. And you were speaking about gamma matches. No, I'm just using a little bit of coax. That trick. So anyway, that's it, Bill. Great hearing from you. But I better go down because if I don't go down, the croissants will be the cat will be eating it. Over.
People always say the dog got it, so you've got a cat. Well, just quickly on the matching section, the reason for having to go to the gamma match was when I was building the driven element, which I built a test one that was able to hang underneath a dipole to play around, and I found that interaction was horrendous between the elements, and particularly nearly impossible between 15 and 17 meters. If you did anything, if you put your 17-meter loop up and got it resonant, I had a half wave of feeder down to my SWR machine, and then you put the other one up beside it. It moved a whole megahertz. It was ridiculous. So then you're playing with this, you're playing with that, you get nowhere. And then I discovered if you short circuited or open circuited the adjacent one, it changed everything. And I threw the thing there for ages, and I wasn't going to build a quad. I couldn't settle with not really knowing what's going on. And then I had a light bulb bulb in the middle of the night, and I thought, I'll close the elements and see if they're less susceptible. It made a massive difference. And I was able to get my elements on frequency with the SWR, not requiring any matching, straight off the gamma matches. Each one's got a gamma match. And that's the reason for doing it. And the second plus was the antenna is quieter than it was before when it was open elements. Go ahead.
Yeah, Roger. That's the thing. Yeah, it can be very frustrating. Putting it up, putting it down, and the whole lot. Well, okay, Bill. We keep in touch, and I hope the lady at the house makes a good recovery. So till the next time, and I'll make an effort to come up one morning next week on 156. Obviously, we're here now, but I'll drop in and say hello to the lads down under. Over.
Yeah, they would like that. Mike is still in France and he's operating the remote from Yalling up, but he sometimes operates with a Foxtrot call sign as well. And 6 Alpha Charlie Fox is regular. The propagation is normally in the mornings better to W6 or to VK6 than it is to VK2 and 3. We're not hearing many of the VK2s and 3s at any strength, unless of course VK3MO comes on. We're going to hear him anyway. Right, I'll let you go. I'm going to, as I say, up stakes, get dressed and go and have a breakfast in town for a change and do me a little bit of shopping. And then there's visiting in the afternoon. So, but look, I'm really pleased I got hold of you. And if I catch you in 156, well, if we want to have a chat, we need to go somewhere else. But maybe we could do that. All the best, John, and thanks for calling. Appreciate it. GI3NVW.
Yeah, Roger, Bill, a pleasure hearing you as always. And just on a final point, yeah, I'm looking forward to hearing Paul coming back. So hopefully he'll come back in a few weeks. Over.
He's taken an awful long time, and I keep getting Facebook stuff from him, and I don't do Facebook, so I can't look at it. If I happen to be in the office, Richard can look at it on his Facebook, but I had Facebook for a while and decided I didn't like it. It was too much rubbish, and I got rid of it, and I'm not motivated. So I'm not getting all the messages that are coming up on Facebook. Is unfortunate. So do you know when he is due back? Incidentally, you were looking at my audio. I'm going to switch this processor off just to see what it does to it. So it's gone off now. The watt meter is still peaking, still showing about 500. Still showing the same if I shout loudly at it. But it's the average power has definitely dropped. Go ahead.
Yeah, Roger. Well, if you want to make contacts, put the processor back. Yeah, you can see little gaps in the audio, but when the signal is great and the processor is on, you're covering up everything. Over.
Yeah, well, I suppose that's to be expected. I managed to get a new fan for this linear. The fan had been on its last legs for a while, and then it got really bad. And then it got when it switched to higher speed, which it does now and again if you're transmitting a long time with a processor, that rattled, and I couldn't get a fan, and people were hearing it, and I got fed up. Some guy in the States had one, but he needed $100 to send it, so I thought that was ridiculous. Eventually got one out of China. I can't believe it, and it arrived carriage free. And I think my fan was bad for years because I can't believe how quiet the amplifier is. Go ahead.
Yeah, Roger. Yeah, well, it makes a big difference. Okay, Bill, it's time to go, but we'll talk soon, I hope. And Paul, well, maybe things took longer than he thought. Over.
Yeah, well, I know it's a work-related problem for him. Sure, he really doesn't want to stay in Glasgow with that fabulous big station down there.
Yeah, well, would you and would I? Over.
Yeah, no, probably not. I've met Paul. I was up at his QTH in Glasgow, the one he got up on the hills. It was a beautiful place. It would have been a great place for radio. But he then changed his whole plans and went to Spain permanently. He lived in Spain, donkeys years ago. I'm not going to this. We haven't got time now. Go ahead.
Yeah, Roger. Well, I think he's well sorted now. He just has to get back. But it's always nice, I'd be down eating the porridge and listening to him on 188. And it's amazing, and I'll just finalize on this one. It's amazing the amount of VKs you hear that you never hear normally when Paul is there. Over.
Oh yeah, he lights up the band in VK. I mean, there's no question about it. And I mean, if you go back long enough, VK3MO used to do that into Europe. I mean, there were more European stations with bits of wet string that were working into VK and all excited. But I mean, MO's like myself now. He's got pretty old and he just wants to come on and talk to a few people. So he's not. But Paul's still doing that. But sooner or later, someday, I think he probably won't. He just want to talk to people. Go ahead.
Yeah, Roger. Well, he likes talking to his good pal Andrew. Over.
Yeah, I think we have a breaker. Who was that? Golf Juliet 7 Delta November. My goodness me. What are you? S9 plus in here. You shouldn't be. Go ahead.
massive loop there. I thought, oh, yeah, that's got to be our power.
Yeah, I'm going to go, Bill, over.
Yeah, Roger, John, I'll let you go. Haven't spoken to Steve since, good Lord, 2024. It's a long time. Steve was a regular with 7BA on the net. John, it's great to get a chat, and I'll look out for you on, it's 188 your frequency, isn't that right?
I've got no frequency. It's wherever I land. But anyway, we keep in touch. Always great hearing you. And I'll send you a little email a little later. GI3NVW ON80I, and greetings to your pal, Bill, over.
Yeah, well, thanks for the company, John. It's been great. And I'll let you go and get the croissants. And I know you're an hour later, and the cattle get them if you don't. All the best from here. And good morning, Steve. Yeah, 2024, 7th of September. We had our last time in my log. I couldn't believe your signal strength. I mean, we're on here 156 quite regularly. We came down. I was up further up the band. We couldn't get a clear frequency, and 156 was clear. So I came back down, but it's too late now for the VKs, as you probably know. But I mean, there's a couple of VK6s every morning. Nearly every morning we're on here. But propagation to VK2 and 3 is not as good as it was. We've been trying to keep the frequency active, and I have been keeping a little bit of contact with John's 7BA's XYL. So how are things with you? GJ7DNI, GI3NVW.
Yeah, GI3NVW. I wasn't too sure, because I know sometimes you're on holiday and you go down south. And yourself, that's very it's good choice they're going on, and obviously. Power on and all that sort of thing, but today is absolutely brilliant, so good to catch up there.
Yeah, it's terrific. It's terrific short skip. It's the strongest I've heard you, and it's actually stronger than I can seem to remember hearing. I mean, the other guys that are regular here are Neil, G4SEN, and G4AIR, many mornings, but I mean, they're workable, but they're down near the noise level, and you're sounding like a VK thundering in here. Well, I mean, VK6 Charlie Bravo was on earlier, but I wasn't in the shack in time. I heard him before I got out of bed. I turned the phone on to see what was going on, and I thought I should really get up and go and do this, but been doing it most mornings, and I was sort of having a lie-in. And then he worked an old GI3 call sign, which I used to know the guy, but he's long, long dead.